We're on chapter 19 of A Course in Miracles, the attainment of peace. And we're on this interesting section now called the obstacles to peace, and it has several subsections. So what we're going to do today is we're going to read the introduction to this section, the obstacles to peace, and then we're going to read the first subsection, subsection A, which is the first obstacle, the desire to get rid of it. Here we go. The obstacles to peace. As peace extends from deep inside yourself to embrace all the sonship and give it rest, it will encounter many obstacles. Some of them you will try to impose. Others will seem to arise from elsewhere, from your brothers, and from various aspects of the world outside. Yet peace will gently cover them, extending past completely unencumbered. The extension of the Holy Spirit's purpose from your relationship to others to bring them gently in is the way in which he will bring means and goal in line. The peace he laid deep within you and your brother will quietly extend to every aspect of your life, surrounding you and your brother with glowing happiness and the calm awareness of complete protection. And you will carry its message of love and safety and freedom to everyone who draws nigh unto your temple, where healing waits for him. You will not wait to give him this, for you will call to him and he will answer you, recognizing in your call the call for God. And you will draw him in and give him rest as it was given you. All this you will do. Yet the peace that already lies deeply within must first expand and flow across the obstacles you placed before it. This will you do, for nothing undertaken with the Holy Spirit remains unfinished. You can indeed be sure of nothing you see outside you, but of this you can be sure. The Holy Spirit asks that you offer him a resting place where you will rest in him. He answered you and entered your relationship. Would you not now return his graciousness and enter into a relationship with him? For it is he who offered your relationship the gift of holiness, without which it would have been forever impossible to appreciate your brother. The gratitude you owe to him, he asks, but that you receive for him. And when you look with gentle graciousness upon your brother, you are beholding him, for you are looking where he is and not apart from him. You cannot see the Holy Spirit, but you can see your brothers truly, and the light in them will show you all that you need to see. When the peace in you has been extended to encompass everyone, the Holy Spirit's function here will be accomplished. What need is there for seeing then? When God has taken the last step himself, the Holy Spirit will gather all the thanks and gratitude that you have offered him and lay them gently before his Creator in the name of his most holy Son. And the Father will accept them in his name. What need is there of seeing in the presence of his gratitude? A, the first obstacle, the desire to get rid of it. This is the first obstacle of peace, the desire to get rid of it. The first obstacle that peace must flow across is your desire to get rid of it, for it cannot extend unless you keep it. You are the center from which it radiates outward to call the others in. You are its home, its tranquil dwelling place from which it gently reaches out, but never leaving you. If you would make it homeless, how can it abide within the Son of God? If it would spread across the whole creation, it must begin with you, and from you reach to everyone who calls and bring him rest by joining you. Why would you want peace homeless? What do you think that it must dispossess to dwell with you? What seems to be the cost you are unwilling to pay? The little barrier of sand still stands between you and your brother. Would you reinforce it now? You are not asked to let it go for yourself alone. Christ asks it of you for himself. He would bring peace to everyone, and how can he do this except through you? Would you let a little bank of sand, a wall of dust, a tiny seeming barrier stand between your brothers and salvation? And yet this little remnant of attack you cherish still against your brother is the first obstacle the peace in you encounters in its going forth. This little wall of hatred would still oppose the will of God and keep it limited. The Holy Spirit's purpose rests in peace within you, yet you are still unwilling to let it join you wholly. You still oppose the will of God just by a little, and that little is a limit you would place upon the whole. God's will is one, not many. It has no opposition, for there is none beside it. What you would still contain behind your little barrier and keep separate from your brother seems mightier than the universe, for it would hold back the universe and its creator. This little wall would hide the purpose of heaven and keep it from heaven. Would you thrust salvation away from the giver of salvation? For such have you become. Peace could no more depart from you than from God. Fear not this little obstacle. It cannot contain the will of God. Peace will flow across it and join you without hindrance. Salvation cannot be withheld from you. It is your purpose. You cannot choose apart from this. You have no purpose apart from your brother, nor apart from the one you ask the Holy Spirit to share with you. The little wall will fall away so quietly beneath the wings of peace. For peace will send its messengers from you to all the world, and barriers will fall away before their coming as easily as those that you interpose will be surmounted. To overcome the world is no more difficult than to surmount your little wall. For in the miracle of your holy relationship without this barrier is every miracle contained. There is no order of difficulty in miracles, for they are all the same. Each is a gentle winning over from the appeal of guilt to the appeal of love. How can this fail to be accomplished wherever it is undertaken? Guilt can raise no real barriers against it, and all that seems to stand between you and your brother must fall away because of the appeal you answered. From you who answered, he who answered you would call. He who answered you would call. His home is in your holy relationship. Do not attempt to stand between him and his holy purpose, for it is yours. But let him quietly extend the miracle of your relationship to everyone contained in it as it was given. There is a hush in heaven, a happy expectancy, a little pause of gladness, an acknowledgement of the journey's end. For heaven knows you well, as you know heaven. No illusions stand between you and your brother now. Look not upon the little wall of shadows. The sun has risen over it. How can a shadow keep you from the sun? No more can you be kept by shadows from the light in which illusions end. Every miracle is but the end of an illusion. Such was the journey, such its ending. And in the goal of truth, which you accepted, must all illusions end. For the little insane wish to get rid of him whom you invited in and push him out must produce conflict. As you look upon the world, this little wish, uprooted and floating aimlessly, can land and settle briefly upon anything, for it has no purpose now. Before the Holy Spirit entered to abide with you, it seemed to have a mighty purpose, the fixed and unchangeable dedication to sin and its results. Now it is aimless, wandering pointlessly, causing no more than tiny interruptions in love's appeal. This feather of a wish, this tiny illusion, this microscopic remnant of the belief in sin is all that remains of what once seemed to be the world. It is no longer an unrelenting barrier to peace. Its pointless wandering makes its results appear to be more erratic and unpredictable than before. Yet what could be more unstable than a tightly organized delusional system? Its seeming stability is its pervasive weakness, which extends to everything. The variability the little remnant induces merely indicates its limited results. How mighty can a little feather be before the great wings of truth? Can it oppose an eagle's flight or hinder the advance of summer? Can it interfere with the effects of summer's sun upon a garden covered by the snow? See but how easily this little wisp is lifted up and carried away, never to return, and part with it in gladness, not regret. For it is nothing in itself and stood for nothing when you had greater faith in its protection. Would you not rather greet the summer sun than fix your gaze upon a disappearing snowflake and shiver in remembrance of the winter's cold? Okay. The obstacles to peace. This is the first obstacle, the desire to get rid of peace. So Jesus is saying here, in a nutshell, let's just say what he's saying. He's saying that we're very close. He keeps repeating this. You who are now encountering these ideas, now you who have made the goal to find God at last. You who are dedicated to truth, you who want love above all, want to see above all, see with holy vision. You could say the Holy Spirit's or Christ's vision or love's vision. You're very close because you have this goal and you have a true teacher. Jesus, in presenting this course, he is that teacher, but he's also attempting for you to get in touch with your own internal guide. And you can call that the Holy Spirit if you want. You could call that the Christ within. You could call that your own Christ consciousness. You could call it your guru, your inner guru. You could call it your higher self. You could call it God. You could call it whatever you want. These are all symbols, right? The words are not important. And what it is goes far beyond words and far beyond worlds. Words and worlds. From where we are, we cannot understand what it is. We can only follow the guide. The guide is here, both the teaching of A Course in Miracles, but again, it's a finger pointing you to your own inner teacher. That's what it is. So it's not about following the Course, because the Course, the Course is just giving you guidelines. It's not coercive in any way. It's not saying you have to do this. It's not telling you what to do. In fact, it doesn't give any prescriptive advice about, very little, maybe a few things here and there. But as far as specific detailed information, like do this or don't do that, like eat, don't eat animals, be vegetarian, or don't have premarital sex, or adultery is wrong. It doesn't say any of those things. That's not what the Course is getting at here. The Course is actually going deeper. It's going beyond ethics. It's going beyond good and evil. So Jesus is saying, you who have this goal of truth, and you who have found this Course, you are very close. You are very close. Again, remember, this is originally for Helen and Bill, and they, was originally a message for them, but then it was recognized that this is for everyone. But who is this Course really for? This is for those who are ready for it. This is for those who have already started to wake up, and then they find the Course and they're like, oh my God, there is this thing. It's real. You may have doubts. Even with the Course, you may have doubts, right? I think this is what this is getting at here, is that, all right, so Jesus has come. He's brought you this Course. And he's saying this is for real, for real. This is not a myth. This is not just a story. This is not a pious fiction. We're getting at the truth of existence. This is taking you to experience of the nature of reality. This is taking you to the understanding of what you truly are. And that is really the most fundamental existential question that we all have, is just, who am I? What am I? We don't, when we really get connected with our existential crises, let's say, or crises, we start to ask these questions. And the fundamental question is, who am I? Although the Course would say, what am I? Because we're not a who, we're not a person. We are everything. We are the song of the universe. We are the whole. We are part and parcel of it. The great shit. No, I'm sorry. So Jesus is saying, okay, now you're opening to this possibility that this really is bringing you the truth, or it's pointing you to the truth. But there's still part of you that doesn't completely accept that and does not want peace. Why? Because, again, the little thing called fear. And it's been pointed out. It's an acronym. Fear is false evidence appearing real. And I think that completely coincides with what the Course is saying. False evidence appearing real. The ego appears to be very real. The ego is a whole thought system of separation. Separation works through guilt, fear, punishment, and all the other things that go with that. So yes, we are that's familiar to us because we have been conditioned in that way. But we can undo the ego, we can unlearn the ego, and we are, and the Course is presenting a way to do it lickety split, much more quicker than you could do it otherwise. Because what is it? What is it proposing? It's proposing that the only real problem here is the fear. If you're willing to look at the fear, if you're willing to go through this process with Jesus, if you're willing to get in touch with your heart and get in touch with the spirit within yourself, the guide within yourself, this can be very quick, because the ego is nothing. And if you already have that idea, which Jesus is bringing here, the ego really is nothing, then it's so much easier. The work is already cut out for you, right? Because if you know the ego is nothing, and if you have trust and faith in that idea, then you can more easily confront the fear. So one other thing that I said I was going to tell you in a nutshell what this part is saying, but that wasn't really a nutshell. But Jesus is saying in this passage, and I can read it. We can read it. Is that things now might get a little bit worse before they get better, because before you had this pretty hard and fast belief in sin, and that was very real. And now things have been upended and churned up, and now you may be a little bit disoriented for a moment. But it's the beginning of the end, right? This whole Course is the beginning of the end. Let's just read this little part here at the end. This lovely. Jesus starts to wax poetic even more here at the end. This fear of a wish, this tiny illusion, this microscopic remnant of the belief in sin is all that remains of what once seemed to be the world. It is no longer an unrelenting barrier to peace. Its pointless wandering makes its results appear to be more erratic and unpredictable than before. So, yet what could be more unstable than a tightly organized delusional system? Its seeming stability is its pervasive weakness, which extends to everything. The variability the little remnant induces merely indicates its limited results. How mighty can a little feather be before the great wings of truth? Can it oppose an eagle's flight or hinder the advance of summer? Can it interfere with the effects of summer's sun upon a garden covered by the snow? Et cetera, et cetera. So Jesus is saying that we no longer are completely insane. He said this before. we're no longer completely insane because we have the Course, right? And if we can understand the Course, we now we have an alternative, right? We have an alternative, and we can no longer be so sure about sin, guilt, and fear as we once were, right? Because now we have something that is solid. The Course is a solid piece of work that is hard to deny. I've been trying to. I'm open to the course being wrong, but it's very authoritative, and until I find something which is truly evidence against it, I'm sticking with it because I was doing the course before I found the course. That's what I would say to people, is that I already, on some level, I knew what the course. I was a student of A Course in Miracles before I found A Course in Miracles. A Course in Miracles, though, just took it, for me, it took it that much further and helped me to fully clarify what it is. But I was doing the course before the course. That's why that's why I resonated with the course when I found it, because I was like, oh my God, this exists. It's not just me. I'm not crazy. This is real, right? And A Course in Miracles is not new either. It is unique and it is new, but this is like perennial wisdom. This has been around for a very long time. Not completely. I mean, the course, I think, takes it that much further and presents it all together, right? But we find these ideas throughout history, the great minds of history. If you think of Einstein, Nietzsche, Plato, Philo, obviously the Gospels, whoever wrote the Gospels, the Gospel of Mark, if that was the first Gospel, even going back, Pythagoras, back to Moses, if Moses really existed, whoever wrote the Hebrew Bible, So all these ideas you can find elsewhere, bits and pieces, but the course presents it in a fully consistent, worked out thought system that is very, very authoritative. Let's leave it at that for today. Next obstacle piece is, what is it? Man, maybe I missed something here today. Sorry if I did. Oh, the attraction of guilt is the next part. Is actually another subsection, is the attraction of guilt. Okay, so we'll get there soon. Thank you so much. See you soon.